Hello everyone. I would like to welcome you to my presentation, and I want to thank you for coming. And in the audience today we have Katie, Kelly, Betty, Albert, Mindy, and Alyssa. We as individuals use thinking every day, whether it's school related, work related, or completing everyday tasks. I mean, think about it. You're thinking right now. You're thinking when you're driving home from school, or you're thinking while you're cleaning the house. And it's important to understand which thought process you need to use in order to complete a specific goal or a specific task. Now I want to take a moment and share a personal experience with you that I learned to overcome by altering my thought process. Currently I'm obtaining my college degree in secondary education in math. And when most people hear me say that, their common thought is, oh my gosh, how in the world can she understand the crazy math concepts or math ideas and math lingo? And their next thought is usually, I could never do that. She's crazy. The simple answer to that is you have to know how to think mathematically. You have to look at math in a math point of view. And once I began to alter my point of view or alter my thought process, I began to understand math. I could understand the math concepts. I could understand the math ideas. The key to learning is to tune into the subject that you're trying to learn. You have to almost be one with the subject, if you want to put it that way. Now I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think of a subject that you would like to learn, whether you're learning it now, already graduated with it, or have been doing it for a while. Now think deep into that subject and think about the thought processes that you would have to experience. Do you know which way you have to think to master the concepts or understand them or critically analyze it? Most likely no. Okay, you can open your eyes now. Hold on to that experience, and we're going to come back to it a little bit later. In order to master the skills of thinking, you have to understand the thought processes known as the 8 elements of thought, and you have to know how it relates to thinking. Now, what is thinking? It's a tough concept to define. It's not an easy one. Critical thinking is the art of analyzing and evaluating thinking with a view to improving it. And this definition is taken from a guide called The Miniature Guide of Critical Thinking, and it was written by Dr. Richard Paul and Dr. Linda Elder. In order to be a successful critical thinker, it's important to be able to raise important and vital questions, be able to gather and evaluate information that surrounds us, think open-mindedly about the topic, and be able to communicate effectively with others while using abstract views to focus in on the topic. And according to Dr. Richard Paul and Dr. Linda Elder, who also wrote How to Study and Learn, thinking is self-monitored, self-motivated, self-disciplined, and self-directed. Now, you might be thinking, how can I change this? There's no way that I can change my thought process to go towards a desired goal. It's not hard because most of the time you're doing it already. In order to think critically, you need to use something called the 8 elements of thought. And that's what we use when we're thinking with a specific purpose. These 8 basic thoughts are present in all thinking. And according to a guide called Analytical Thinking, whenever we think, we are thinking with a specific purpose, with a point of view that leads to conclusions and implications. Thinking generates purposes, raises questions, uses information, utilizes concepts, makes inferences, makes assumptions, generates implication, and embodies a point of view. Those are the 8 elements of thought that can easily be used when working through a problem. Now let's go a little bit more in depth with each structure. The first one is you need to think about your purpose. Make sure you state your purpose clearly and be able to come back to it so you make sure that you're on target with what you're thinking about. This is your goal. This is what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. The second one is to state a specific problem. By stating the problem, it lays out the particular solution that you're trying to solve, and it guides our thinking. Thirdly, gather any information, whether it's data, facts, evidence, graphs, anything that's around us, but make sure you find information that supports it and opposes it. That way you know both angles of the argument, and it'll help you solve the problem or the task that you're completing. Next, watch for inferences. And it's important to know that when you're inferring something, that's actually your mind working it out. That's your mind trying to find the answer. And you want to be able to understand all the conclusions so you're not letting your mind wander. The fifth one is to check for any assumptions. These beliefs are often taken for granted and they happen at our unconscious level of thinking. So you want to make sure you can clearly identify them and justify them and relate them back to their topic. Next is to clarify your concepts. Explain the ideas, the theories, the laws, the principles, anything that you're using to solve the problem. Try and find alternate definitions, so if something doesn't work out, you can move to the next definition and see if that works as well. Next is to think through any implications. These